Welcome back to this channel. It's your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, Mr. Rainn, and today we are going to help you guys out a little bit because it has come to my attention that some of my empaths are struggling. So a really awesome question came in, and I feel like that this is something that can apply to a lot of people. So we are going to be dealing with it today. So this question comes from Divinely Guided 936, and it says, one question that affects my day to day. I feel other people's energy and what they are going through, and I try to shield this, but sometimes I just get hit with it and I have physical reactions to it because it's overwhelming. It's hard to explain, but the feeling I get is similar to a panic attack. Sounds are muffled, I might have trouble breathing and almost feel like I might faint. If I remove myself from that person, I'm fine, but this last job I was at, he was my manager. Was it a warning that he wasn't a good dude and my emergency switch flipped to get me away from him? Is there another way to block other people's energy so it doesn't overwhelm mine? So the first thing I do want to mention really quick about that whole warning, I can't verify whether or not it's a warning or not because I never met the dude, right? But what I will say is that warnings are not subtle. Warnings are blaring in your face because the purpose of a warning is to keep you alive, right? It's survival. It's a survival mechanism. So chances are, if you are questioning whether or not it was a warning, it probably wasn't, right? Because you would have sensed that there was like danger. And if that's not where you are, then I would say probably not. But that doesn't necessarily dismiss the idea that his energy wasn't uncomfortable. The good news that I have is that this is actually quite a normal experience for people that are sort of in the beginning of their journey, or the baby empaths, as I call it. This is actually a very normal response and a very normal feeling. You get panic attacks. That is actually quite normal. This happens because right now, because you are in the process of learning how to control the energies that are around you, the energies are currently unmanaged or mismanaged, and because of that, it's creating chaos, right? Your energetic field has an ability to perceive it. It's perceiving energetic chaos, and so the reactions are physical and it's manifesting in the body, and in your case, it's manifesting as a panic attack. But there are other ways that it can manifest too. It can manifest as heart palpitations. It can manifest as back pain, indigestion, stomach problems, migraines. It can make you feel uneasy. It can make you irritable. You can be more tired. People also have a tendency from time to time to disassociate. And the reason for that is because the energetic resonance is just too much. It's too chaotic. And so it's almost as if they step out of it for a minute and it turns into a disassociation type of thing. This is actually very normal for people who are sort of beginning the phases of their spiritual journey and their baby empaths. And I actually have a word for this. I actually call this the psychic flu, which is when you get so bombarded by energetic frequencies that you can perceive that it actually makes you sick physically. Now, I will say this. I am a psychic on the internet, so I'm going to ask you to use your own best judgment about your health. Now, the good news about your situation is that you have an ability to perceive it. Not everybody has the ability to perceive or identify that what they're actually experiencing is other people's energy. So you have actually done a lot of homework. You have an ability to identify the energy, which means your next step is now controlling your energetic space. And then after you learn how to control your energetic space, you can then learn how to sort of wield the energy around you. In order to do this, for those of you that are not yet in the place where you can perceive energy that's other than yours, how you actually do that is learning to differentiate energy that's not yours, right? And so the way to do that is by doing regular self check-ins. And the self check-in should kick in when you realize you are feeling something that feels maybe out of the ordinary, right? So if you feel like your day was fine, you don't necessarily have to have been happy or had to have been excited. But if you feel like you were fine, you were content, you didn't have any issues with anything, you were just going through the day, like whatever. And then 5 minutes later, you are suddenly angry or you're suddenly irritable, and it's something that came out of nowhere and it doesn't have an explanation or a reason or a trigger for why it's happened. This is when you want to do a self check-in. The first thing you're going to do is ask yourself, is this mine? And if you have already ascertained that there was in fact no trigger, right, then you can probably conclude that the answer is no. And when you can conclude that the answer is no, it's not mine, then you can start the process of separating yourself from the energy you have somehow managed to pick up. I'll get to that later. You see, humans are like street sweepers, right? We're like brooms, right? Because of the energetic field, right? We all kind of have our own energetic bubble, right? Picture yourself walking down a really busy street. As you're walking down that really busy street, you're sort of sweeping up all the energy as you go, right? Think about all the stores you're walking past, all the trash on the ground, all of the people that have walked past you. You're like a street sweeper, and you're sweeping up all of this energy that's around you. Every time you walk past a person, you have just walked through their energetic field. Every time someone walks past you, they have just walked through your energetic field. And what happens is energy may get stuck, and then you kind of take it with you. It is possible that for a lot of people, you may have just forgotten to release it because you're just going about your day to day. It's not something that's really in the conscious, it's just sort of happening. And so the thought to release the energy that you swept up doesn't necessarily come to the forefront of your mind. Or maybe you were unaware of the fact that you were sweeping up energy, or maybe you simply just don't know how to let go of it. As an empath, I'm going to ask you to remember the 3 Ds: disperse, discharge, and dismiss. These are the 3 ways that you can get rid of energy. Now, there's a lot of other ways that you can get rid of it. These are just the easiest ways to do it, in my personal opinion. So, hey, here we are. I'm going to explain it to you. These are 3 ways to get rid of energy that you have swept up throughout your day, right? So starting with disperse. Disperse just means to scatter, right? Just get rid of it like this, right? And dogs actually do this. Dogs disperse often, and dogs have a tendency to disperse when they are in a time of transition. So typically, when dogs come from outside back inside, like the house, like if you let them out and they come back in, they have a tendency to shake, right? They're dispersing. It's almost like they're dispersing the outside when they come back in. Sometimes if you have carpet or area rugs, you'll notice that a dog will maybe roll around on the carpet and stuff like that. Yeah, there's like an instinct sort of thing to it where they're marking territory or whatever, but they're also dispersing energy because they transitioned in from outside. Funny enough, most people actually disperse when they make that transition from outside to inside too. It's just done subconsciously. You don't actually know that you're doing it. A very good example of this is that when people have a tendency to come home after being outside all day, doing whatever, at work, whatever, you have a tendency to take your clothes off. A lot of people remove their clothing, and they do so quickly. It's not really a situation where you come home and there's like a calm ritual of like clothing removal. Typically when people come home, it's like a chaotic flinging shirts off, right? You got large titties, you may be flinging the bra off too, I don't know. But it's quick. It's a fast thing. It's a fast transition. And if you ask people, oh, well, why do you do that, right? Oh, I don't want outside in the house, right? Or don't sit on the bed with your outside clothes. Don't walk in the house with shoes you're going to bring outside in. There's an awareness that you're bringing an energy into a space that you don't want to bring it in. And so that sort of ritual that we have a tendency to do where we quickly undress when we come home is almost a form of scattering, of getting the energies that you no longer want in your field. Another way we have a tendency to scatter, and we don't necessarily know this, is times when we get really heated, really upset, really angry, and then we go, you know what, whatever, I gotta go for a walk, right? You're dispersing. The movement is dispersing, right? So in order to disperse or scatter, you must either move yourself or move things, right? So if you want to disperse energy that's in the body, then you move the body, right? And so violently taking your clothes off is a form of of moving, but it's also a way of moving things as well. So at that point, you're doing two of them, right? But if you're feeling upset about something, a lot of times people have a tendency to go to the gym, or they have a tendency to go for a run. They're dispersing the energy that's currently in their body. And another way you see this manifest when it comes to dispersing things is whenever there's been a time when you've been like, I don't really like how this room looks, or the room is feeling stale, it needs to be refreshed, right? And then you proceed to then rearrange the furniture, right? And then afterwards you're like, oh, this feels really bad. We're like much better. And then you blame it on feng shui. It's dispersing. You just disperse the energy because for whatever reason, maybe it was sitting in one place for a long time. Maybe it had gone stale. And so you're like, I don't really like this. And so intuitively you picked up on it and you knew that you needed to disperse it. You probably just weren't consciously aware of the fact that you were actually doing it. Another way of dispersing is simply, quite literally, brushing it off, right? Sometimes you could just do this. So if you feel like there's energy that you've picked up and it's not yours, you can just wipe it off you, like this. The next one is discharge. That's another way that you can actually get rid of energy that's not yours. And discharge simply means to like release or let go of. And you guys have done this as well. Remember that time you were in a relationship and you didn't really like the energy that was in it and you're like, maybe this isn't actually working out for us. And so you break up. You have effectively discharged the person, right? You have released it. You have let them go. Another way that you can discharge energy is if you can identify what it is. Let's say it's irritation. Maybe you went to work and you had a work meeting and the boss was really irritable that day. And then after the meeting, you walked around feeling irritated because then they irritated you because it penetrated your field. What you can also do is write what you know the energy is down on a piece of paper. You can crumble it up. You can throw it in a garbage can, discharging it. Releasing, letting it go. The last one is to dismiss, which is to allow something to leave or to send something away, right? Like you're actively pushing it away from you. I used to have this line when I would date dudes and then break up with them. I used to say, you're lovingly dismissed. And they used to hate that shit. But you're just sending them away. I don't like your energy. It's not really working for me. So you're dismissed. So if you want to dismiss things that are in your field and you are someone that works with spirit, you can always ask your spirit team to dismiss something for you. You can always ask them to get rid of whatever it is that it is. And that can be if you work with God, if you work with angels, if you have deities, if you work with your ancestors, your spirit guides, or whoever's on your spirit team, you can just simply ask them, hey, can you dismiss this for me? And they would be more than willing to do that. Another way to dismiss is to simply be dismissive. This is probably, in my opinion, the easiest way to do something. The easiest way to get rid of an energy is to simply be dismissive of it, right? And that is you holding the intention of, nah, I'm not dealing with that. It's not for me. I don't like it. I'm not dealing with it. I dismiss it. Keep in mind that the bigger your aura is, the bigger your energetic field is, the more you have a tendency to sweep up energy, right? Because it's wider. So if you're walking down that busy street, it has farther to go. It has more room and things to pick up. This means if you walk past somebody on a bad day, well, shit, you may end up having a bad day yourself if you haven't realized or learned how to identify it. A lot of people's energetic field extends out from them somewhere between 6 to 8 feet out. That's actually really far. People don't notice that their field has actually gone out that far. So picture yourself walking down the street with your field 6 to 8 feet out from you. That's 6 to 8 feet out in the front, 6 to 8 feet out in the back, 6 to 8 feet out from the sides, 6 to 8 feet diagonally, right? It's a circle. So if you have something that big, an area that's that big, that's acting like a street sweeper, then yeah, you're going to have a lot of junk that gets cluttered up in your aura. What you want to do is shrink your energetic field, right? Shrinking your energetic field does not mean you're making it less powerful, right? It actually just means that you're bringing it closer to your body. Ideally, you don't want the energetic field to go out past 3 feet. And the reason for that is the closer the energetic field is to your body, the less likely you are to pick something up, right? The closer it is to you, that woman that is 6 feet away from you that's walking past you can't pass through your field because it's close to your body. So in addition to disperse, discharge, and dismiss, the other thing that you can do to help alleviate some of these things is to recall, which means to recall the energy back to you. That energetic field that you have that's sitting 6 to 8 feet from you, you can recall it back so it's sitting maybe 3 feet from you instead. no more than arm's length, right? And the way you do this is you simply hold the intention that you want to recall your energetic space back. Take a minute, take a deep breath, right? And visualize your energetic field. It doesn't matter where it is. It also, oh, someone's at my door. Why are they at my door? Did I order Amazon? Did I order Amazon? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, visualization. So you're going to visualize your energetic field. It doesn't matter how big it is, pass no judgment. It doesn't matter what color it is, pass no judgment. We don't care about that in this particular case. We just need to identify it, because how do you call it back to you if you don't even know where it is, right? So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and quickly identify where your field is and how far out it's extending from you. And then you are going to picture yourself bringing it back to you. There's a couple of ways you can do this. One, you can visualize yourself standing inside an inflated balloon, and then the balloon deflating and closing in on you, so it's tight around you. And as visualizing that happening, also visualize your aura or your energetic field coming back to you at the same time, right? Another way you can do it, which is actually one of my more fun ways that I actually like to do it for myself, is to simply suck it back, like back to you, right? And picture while doing that your energetic field has like the elasticity of a rubber band, right? Where it snaps back to you like that, real quick. And you can practice that over and over to recall your energy back to you. And the tighter the energy is to your body, the less likely it is for something to get stuck in it as you're going about your day to day. And if you do happen to walk past somebody who has a majorly big energetic field, because they don't know this technique and they don't know that their field is actually that big, and their energy sticks to you anyway, even after you've done the work to make your energetic field close to your body, just remember that you can either disperse, discharge, or dismiss. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope that was helpful. And as always, if you like what you see, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you soon.